Evening. Welcome to the August, help me out here, 5th, thank you, Village Board meeting. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Trustee Durao,
Present.
Trustee Herrera,
Present.
Trustee Quezada,
Present.
and Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Do we have any mayors and trustees now?
We do. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the village and in the community who helped make Jamie Loeb Day a success on Monday. This is, Jamie signed a couple of balls for us. You can see one of them at the community center. And if you aren't already aware, Jamie Loeb is an Ossining native. She grew up here and lives here with her family, and she's also now on the international tennis circuit while she's attending UNC Chapel Hill. And because she won the NCAA championship a couple weeks ago, she actually has got a wild card draw to the U.S. Open, I believe is the correct terminology. So we're very excited about that, and it was very nice. She came and spent the afternoon, celebrating her successes. But more than that, she gave a bunch of time to playing tennis with young kids in the community. So it was really nice to see her giving back to the community and supporting the great Ossining tennis program that we have here through the rec and through Ossining Community Tennis. So I wanted to thank her for that and thank everybody who helped make the day happen. My colleagues.
Yes. So in a couple of weeks, the Chamber will be hosting their second annual Lobster Fest. Last year, they sold over 200 tickets, and I had to run to Stop and Shop and ask them for 50 more. They thought I was kidding, and I wasn't. So that's going to be held on Saturday, August 29th at 6 p.m. at the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. You could order tickets by calling 914-941-0009. You could also purchase them online at www.ossiningchamber.org. The event's going to be held at the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. It's expected to sell out once again. I will be there with my friends and family, and I look forward to seeing you all there.
You want to talk about Friday's parade?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to. There's a big parade on Friday.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, John's not here.
Yes, John's not here. You
Yeah,
can pick it up.
the fire parade is on Friday night, and it comes down from by the Wobble Cafe all the way down and around, and ends up down at the waterfront in Lewis Engle Park. So come out, enjoy the parade. There'll be, I think there's 39 fire departments sending trucks, so it's very cool. Also, I think the Riscos are in their parking lot are putting up chairs and stuff. So if you and they'll have music, so you can hang out there and watch the parade go by, and then run down and go to the end. So that's it. Come down on Friday night.
It's always a fun night.
7 p.m.
Step off
7
is
o'clock.
at 7. Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with our village manager, Abraham Zambrano.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. One of the first things that I would like for you to consider in tonight's minutes that are before you for the July 22nd special meeting, there's a correction. It mentions that former village manager Richard Lyons was present at the meeting. So if we could, when you do approve that, if you could approve it with that correction, please. So the other things that I wanted to talk to you about is the village will be applying for funding through the Upstate Revitalization Initiative Program. The governor has made $1.5 billion in funding. The village will be applying as part of the Mid-Hudson region, and there are 7 regions that qualify for the funding. New York City and Long Island do not qualify for the funding, so there's less competition. 3 regions will be awarded $500 million and allocated at a rate of $100 million per year for the next 5 years. And we are certainly applying for several projects, and we can certainly give you some of the details at the work session next week. The funding is also available for private entities, and there are quite a few village businesses and entities that will be applying for funding, and we're going to send the application. Everybody submits the applications individually, but it's part of a package that will be submitted to the state. So The other thing that I wanted just to mention, although we already sent out a notification to the residents, the first step of the street lightings update to LED will be starting throughout the village in the week of August, well, this week actually. And there will be crews from the contractor Lumen Light Solutions throughout the village. They will be properly identified. The vehicles also are properly identified, so they will be around the village for the next several weeks doing an inventory of the lights. We're also, on another note, we're looking into the possibility of switching and upgrading our software that we use to maintain village records. That includes all the financials, water, utilities, code enforcement, and the current software is outdated. And we're looking, and we're also experiencing some support issues with them. So we're looking to be able to upgrade the software. We will bring something to you in the next, also possibly the next work session. But that's something that I would like to be able to discuss with you and also make it part of the 2016 budget. Along with that same upgrades, we're also looking, and we already discussed the ability for the village to have an agenda software. And the one that we probably will be proposing to the board is more like an app. So it would be pretty user-friendly, not only for the residents, but also for the village board to be able to access all the documents and all the records on the agenda online while you're here, instead of using paper. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Corporation Counsel, Laura Lee Dixon.
Hi, good evening. My usual reminder to folks having tag sales, garage sales, estate sales, etc., please return to the places where you've affixed your signs in the village and remove them. We ask that you do that within 24 hours of the event. That assists us in the code enforcement office, and it means less staff time having to go around and pick up waste paper, as they do tend to get wet and fall to the ground, so it's very unsightly. So if the public would just participate in that, it would go a long way to assisting with visual pollution in the village. So a reminder to you, if you're holding a tag sale, to take your signs down. I would like to speak to letter E on your agenda this evening. This is, as you know, the changes to Spring Street 2A, the proposed introductory local law. Number 2, as you know, you've held extensive hearings on this, and even during the deliberations last week, there was a lot more discussion. It was 2 weeks ago, because we had a week off. If you would like to make any revisions this evening, you're certainly entitled to do that, to tweak any of the language to make you more comfortable moving forward. And just a reminder that crosswalks are not legislated, they're a design element. And once you are satisfied that you would like to make the changes permanent, that being the two-way portion between Maple and Main, once you've made that change to the traffic pattern, you can return to authorize additional work as to the design elements. As you know, we have a proposal, and you accepted the first 2 phases. That was the utility markout and the surveying. It's my understanding that those 2 phases are essentially complete, so when you're prepared and ready to move forward, we can bring that back for a discussion at a work session, and you can authorize the next phase or 2, or tweak the phases as you see fit in accordance with the comments you have received. So that is on for this evening. Local law number 2, introductory local law number 2, will be adopted if you move forward this evening as number 6. And also, there is a resolution approving a return of excess payment in lieu of parkland funds. This was a change in a site plan and development, which necessitates us to return some monies that are in that fund. So that's item G on for this evening. And those are your resolutions on for this evening. Thank you.
Chief Burton does not have a report this evening, so we'll move on to organizational announcements. Is there anyone here with an organizational announcement?
I have one.
Okay.
I forgot to mention it earlier. I promised I would. Galata House Family Fun Night will be at Nelson Park next Thursday, August 13th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. The Westchester Knicks will be there hosting a clinic, and there'll be some food and music, and that's going on from 4 to, I believe, 8:30 p.m. So I encourage you to stop by Nelson Park for a free event supporting a great new nonprofit in our community. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier that I wanted to mention was just a reminder that if you are around your community, walking the streets, and you see garbage, please, take that step and effort. Use your best, effort to pick it up and throw it out in a garbage can nearby. We do have areas where people are known to just feel it's okay to litter. And as we try to address ways for us to care better for our community, I ask that we all step up and clean it up. So thank you.
That's
Thank you.
We'll move on to Village Board resolutions. Is there anyone who would like to comment on any of the resolutions? Not seeing any. Well, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the July 15th, 2015 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the July 22nd, 2015 special meeting as amended. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated August 5th, 2015, the amount of $815,904.90.
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
Yeah, just very quickly. The reason this is such a large amount, last month was one of those months with an extra fifth Wednesday, and we didn't have a meeting, so this is kind of a double pile of vouchers. So there was no extraordinary thing. You didn't buy another fire truck or put jacuzzis in everybody's office.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Leighton Florent of Austin, New York, was elected an active member of Senate Hook and Ladder Company Number 1 for interior firefighting at their regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adoption of introductory local law number 2 as local law number 6, 2015, entitled Vehicles and Traffic Law Revision. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining has been considering the adoption of a proposed local law entitled Vehicles and Traffic Law Revision, which law would codify a change in the traffic pattern from one-way street to a two-way street on the portion of Spring Street between Maple Place and Main Street, with ancillary prohibition against and adjustments of some street parking and the designation of a loading zone on the adjacent Maple Place, and the lowering of the speed limit from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour on Spring Street from Broad Avenue to Main Street. And whereas in accordance with New York State law and after having provided all requisite notice, the Board of Trustees convened a public hearing on introductory local law number 2, 2015 on May 20th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Austin, New York, during which hearing the public had an opportunity to be heard on such proposed local law, with adjourned hearings also duly conducted on June 3rd, June 17th, and July 1st, with a final adjournment hearing on July 15th. And whereas the matter was the topic of further discussion at a public work session on July 8th, and with final deliberation on July 22nd, 2015, following which the board determined there were no impediments to proceeding with adoption of the local law and thereafter designated it as local law number 6, 2015. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby adopts introductory local law number 2 as local law number 6, 2015, entitled Vehicles and Traffic Law Revision, and directed that said local law be filed and or distributed in accordance with applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board?
make a comment on this. I think in our last work session, we were talking about instead of 25 miles per hour, we're talking about 20 miles per hour. Make that correction.
We did not come to that decision.
We did not come to this. Okay. I thought it was a suggestion that we will talk about it today, I guess.
You know, we have not, to my knowledge, spoken about it since it was raised in our last meeting.
Yeah, I raised it, and my understanding, Chief pointed out that if we do that there, we're going to run into wanting to change it everywhere. And it opened a can of worms, so I withdraw my suggestion, and suggest that we leave it at 25. We can always go back and change it later, right? You know,
Sure.
All right.
and I'll just run faster when I cross the street, that's all.
Well,
Move to 25.
we're going to do our best to make it very safe for all.
Limping really quickly.
Okay,
Thank you.
roll call vote. Trustee DeRio,
Aye.
Trustee Herrera,
Aye.
Trustee Cazada,
Aye.
and Mayor Garrity.
Aye.
Resolve the village manager is hereby authorized to execute Amendment B to the 2014-15 Index Lump Sum Snow and Ice Agreement with New York State, contract number D009784, to increase total state reimbursement to the village for the 2014-15 winter season from the original estimate of $22,464 to $59,933.95, an increase of $37,469.95. Do I?
So moved.
Second.
On the board, I'll just say that it is very nice to see that there's an increase in the reimbursement after a very, very tough winter.
All
Madam
those in
Clerk.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to Chapter 270 of the Village Code, the Village Planning Board may require a project applicant to pay into a special village recreation site acquisition and improvement fund for providing recreational facilities in the vicinity of the proposed project, hereinafter payment in lieu of parkland. And whereas on September 24th, 2014, the village received from Francisco A. Garcia $85,000 as a payment in lieu of parkland for a proposed development project located at 3137 Spring Street. And whereas on April 28th, 2015, based on a revised project proposal for 3137 Spring Street, the Planning Board, by resolution, required a payment in lieu of parkland of $30,000 and authorized that any amount paid in excess of $30,000 to be refunded. And whereas the project developer for 3137 Spring Street has applied for a building permit based on the revised project proposal, now therefore be it resolved, the village treasurer is authorized to refund $55,000 to Francisco A. Garcia, the individual who originally paid to the village the $85,000 payment in lieu of parkland on September 24th, 2014, for the proposed project at 3137 Spring Street, with said refund amount representing the required payment in lieu of parkland in excess of $30,000 as determined by the Village Planning Board. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That completes your resolutions for this evening. Is there any continuing business of the board?
No,
Do we have any new business of the board?
we do.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that everyone has a purpose and that everyone has a reason to be here. Personally, I have been blessed to know that my calling and or my vocation is in public service, which in my case involves advocacy and leadership, compassion, equality, and justice for all. Running for elected office was always a challenge that I was willing to take, an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others. I felt that it was worth it, even if I made a difference in only a couple of people. I am compelled and determined to show everyone that an equitable government can work and thrive, all beginning right here at a local level. I am very happy to say that my push for a more effective, transparent, and accountable municipality have all been accomplished and are a continual work in progress now more than ever. Together, along with my colleagues Mayor Garrity and trustees DeRio, Codman, and Casada, a tremendous amount has begun, has been accomplished, and is in progress, such as us restoring the public comment section of board meetings after 6 years of it being censored, unanimous support of the hiring of a new village manager who we felt is experienced, effective, equitable, and innovative to move Ossining forward. And so far, is doing a great job. Unanimously voting to support the Raise the Age resolution, the Raise the Wage, and adopting a complete streets policy. Unanimously selecting a new chief of police and hiring, and then just make sure that I have the correct number, 5 new police officers. Am I correct?
Sort
6.
of. Yeah, I guess
And the
it's six.
hiring
Depends when
of-
you count. But
of numerous new officers to our great Ossining Police Department, and promoting deserving and proven individuals in that department as well. Also, as an appointed liaison to the Downtown Fund Council, the Board of Trustees expanded the council to include 2 more residents. The committee now meets on a regular basis and is in the process of developing an action plan to present to the board on how those funds can best be of use. Local government, where you want it, how you want it. That's been my motto since I began. I launched a series of virtual office hours via all social media networks, an interactive website, and in-person mobile office hours at local coffee shops. However, we do still have to address a lot of challenges, such as illegal housing, the need for more low-income and affordable housing, meanwhile having a good mix of our market rate, addressing the selective enforcement within our departments, outreach to our Latino and minority communities, and making youth a priority item within our village's legislative agenda. Out of our entire boards, commissions, and committees, I believe there isn't really a voice that represents ages 16 to 25 and even older, which according to our census makes up for over 21% of our entire population. Yes, I know there's still much to do and to address, but we are off to a great start. It is an exciting time to be an Ossining resident. In the midst of unprecedented growth, development, the opening of 10+ businesses within the last year, award-winning fire, police, EMS departments, it is no question that Ossining is thriving and redefining our vision and mission together for today and for who we want to be. I had the privilege and honor to announce that I will be accepting a policy-making position in the New York State government beginning September 2015. Due to the nature of my new full-time role, it is with a very heavy heart that I announce my resignation as trustee and deputy mayor of the Village of Ossining Board of Trustees, effective Monday, September 8th, 2015. It has been my privilege to be given the opportunity to serve the residents of the great village and as the youngest elected official in the county, which I do not take lightly. In my new role, I will continue to serve the residents of Ossining, but also the entire state of New York. Please continue on supporting this board, your elected officials, here to represent you and to produce for you. Support all your neighbors, local businesses, and remember to be part of a collaborative solution and aim to build others up. Take time for another and fight for our brother and sister. I personally invite you to stay connected with me at omarjherrera.com, through Facebook, and at Twitter at Omar J. Herrera. God bless you all, and thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you. I still have a month left. This is very, very hard for me. I really do care for this board, for this community, for this village, and I had no idea that such an opportunity would come at this time. And I thank all our department heads. I thank this board, my colleagues, everyone, all the voters, the community. Me being on this board was because of all of you. And you were all part of that since I was that kid at 13 doing a protest. It's a very hard day for me, but an exciting day because I know that I will continue to serve all our residents and continue to put service above self. Thank you.
Omar Herrera, ladies and gentlemen. Want to say something? Of course I want to say something.
go right ahead. I'll wait.
I've known Omar since he was a teenager. I've watched him be the kid who helped with Kitty Garicki and the rest of us doing the blitz, you know, for the Democratic Party. I've seen him serve on committees, open his own business, be successful at that, finish college, and grow into the extraordinary young man that he has become. I could not be prouder of Omar Herrera, who was my own son. I think he's destined for great things, and this is just another step on what's going to be an extraordinary journey, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
Met Omar about 5-6 years ago. And one of the first things I said, how come you're not running yet? But you could have been like a really, really young guy when you got he was always been involved serving the community. Doing more than that. Serve, has helped a lot of people, not just here, but throughout Westchester itself, for the different type of jobs that he has and the talents that he. I heard the news. Told them we're definitely gonna miss a big part of what we have done and what we have accomplished. Personally, I am gonna.
Omar, I am thrilled for you. Okay. You've challenged me and supported me in so many ways in just the last year of us running for office together and having a very, very active first 7 months of this year. And you really challenged and supported all of us who share your vision for great things in Ossining, and I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you. And I will just make a practical note. There is a pretty simple process in our village charter. If there is a vacancy on the Board of Trustees, an elected position, the board appoints the replacement until an election can happen to have that person officially elected into that position. So the board and I will, trustees and I will talk about that later. Thank you. Are there any public comments? Is this a time that we open to public comments?
Actually, you have one more item on new business. I hate to.
Oh, on new business?
I hate to, yes.
Before we do that, actually, if I may, I too would like to congratulate Trustee Herrera in the short time that we've worked together. It's been a pleasure working with you, for you, and I want to thank you for your support over the last 2.5 months that I've been with the village. I think it's a great loss for Ossining, but I think it's a gain for New York State. And since we're part of the state, actually, you're going to be making hopefully some waves up in Albany and helping the local community also. So thank you, thank you.
I'd like to just say thank you to you as well. We worked on Summerfest for a couple of years now together, and then when you joined the board, I was thrilled to have you on board with your organizational skills and your ability to see through the issues and to get to the heart of the matter. So I certainly have appreciated working with you very much over the last 4 years since I've been here. So thank you, and thank you for taking a policymaking position in Albany. I think Albany will certainly gain from that. So, you had one other item of new business on Friday. Christina sent an email to you around 3 o'clock indicating that we'd been approached. The manager's office and Corporation Counsel had been approached about interest in a piece of vacant property that's currently a parking lot down on Water Street, directly opposite the termination of Broadway. There's a need for a license to accommodate some storage and use by a subcontractor working for the MTA. I can refresh your memory that the salient terms of the agreement that they're proposing to enter into, and this is a license agreement, revocable, completely revocable, so it doesn't actually qualify as a transaction in real property. But they're looking for a 1-year duration. You do retain the right to revoke in your absolute discretion, as is necessary for a license agreement of this nature. There will be no manufacturing or assembly of any materials on site. there's no more than two box trucks, no semis, to be parked there on any one given time. The storage and staging of precast concrete manholes and rolls of conduit and those similar kinds of items would be there and monitored. There are no hazardous materials proposed, and they would be needing access only between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on weekdays. No weekend work, no evening work, no holidays, nothing of that nature. They would agree to provide the village with an annual license fee, and they would have an ongoing duty of maintenance and restoration should they damage the property in any way. So they did approach the manager's office, and Christina has been talking with them as well. So I drafted a quick draft license agreement, and I would ask for an opportunity to answer any of your questions based upon the email that went out. And because in the past there have been some issues, but this is not that piece of property. It's sandwiched in between two existing and active businesses. It's on Water Street, but it's at the foot of Broadway, directly across the street from Broadway. I would ask that you authorize the manager to enter into a revocable license agreement of this nature, and you can leave it up to us review and approval of the legal department to be sure that the terms are in place.
How much?
We have negotiated a $3,000 a month right now. We're still going back and forth. We have not finalized that, but that's what I would like to see the village get compensated for on a monthly basis.
That's okay with me?
Okay, you answered a lot of our questions before we could ask them. So, are there any others? Board?
The license would be only between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. They proposed that because that's all that they will be needing. They'll be needing to go there to pick up new materials to put in the box trucks to drive away, and then it's a ongoing federally funded project at the MTA.
Potential, I mean, we are suggesting we're recommending a 1-year contract, but it could be up to 3 years at some point. So, but again, I think that it's best for us to do it on a yearly basis, and then with extensions in the future, or so wishes.
Thank you.
I do have a resolution I can read. It just our standard authorization. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby authorizes the village manager to enter into a revocable license agreement with Jude Lau Contracting Company, TC Electric JV of Flushing, New York, concerning the temporary use of the village-owned property along Water Street at the foot of and directly across from Broadway. The terms of such agreement being subject to review and approval by the Corporation Council.
So moved.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move into visitor recognition. Is there anyone who's here to address the board?
Please tell us your name and where you live.
Hello, Katie.
Hello, Board. I'm Katie Garicki, and I'm here tonight. Well, first I want to just congratulate Omar. Congratulations, Omar. I'm devastated that you're leaving this board, and I'm very, very, very personally happy for your growth, and I can't think of anybody else I want in Albany writing policy. Okay, I'm here tonight representing Camp Woods as a trustee and a board member of the Ossining Camp Meeting Association. We have just been informed that our beautiful old oak trees, we're on the significant sites, and our beautiful old oak trees have a white borer beetle. Yeah, it's an invasive beetle, and very, very concerned, and I'm just, coming before the board to find out if this beetle is anyplace else in Ossining, and if there's anybody I can consult. I know the building department has an arborist that maybe can come out and take a look.
We do have a tree warden.
Tree warden, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, Camp Woods could use some help.
So, Abe?
Yes, what we can do actually, if you can contact my office tomorrow, I'll be more than happy to talk to you, and then we can, guide you put you in the right contacts.
Okay, we'll talk bugs.
Very good,
Okay.
thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Katie. Nice to see you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No. Might I then ask for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are going to adjourn to executive session for legal advice and for issues of personnel involving specific persons.
So moved.
On the board? Yes. Trustee Quesada, seconding.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, with that, I thank you very much for joining us this evening. As you can imagine, our meeting is going to continue, but this is it for the public session. And we hope that you will join us next week, August 12th. We will be at the Village Hall, and one of the items on the agenda will be, we're going to be getting an update on the Harbor Square development that's happening down at the waterfront. I know there have been several questions about how decisions have been made and where we are with that progress, so I hope that you will tune in next week or join us at Village Hall at 7:30 on the first floor. This meeting is adjourned.